there. Hope you're doing well. Let's start exploring some of the AWS AI products. Now, I posted something a little while ago where I said I'm going to start exploring this. We're going to do that at Snowpal this year as we start building our next set of APIs and other products that we have on our roadmap this year. In addition to the features, surely, like it is probably for everybody, almost everybody, AI is at the top of the list. But that being said, we are at the very early stages. We don't yet have an offering in production that leverages that, but we don't want to say that 6 months down the road. So we are kind of getting started and in full steam, if you will. But one of the first things to do is to sort of explore what's out there, try to get a better understanding of the variety of things that we are subject to on a daily basis from an AI and AI terminology standpoint, and then sort of pick and choose the right set of tools and technologies to use to make the best use of what's out there in the context of what we are aiming to do. Right? It's not like you're trying to manufacture a new product or solution just because there are these AI based offerings out there. I mean, not that that isn't necessarily not that it's a good or a bad way to go. That's typically not how we're going to do it. We have a bunch of needs, but we want to cater to those needs slightly better, leveraging these AI technologies, right? Now, to be able to do that, we first need to explore what's there. And again, if you take these three large cloud providers, at least as a starting point, like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, they have a lot of these offerings, right? And again, you can Google to figure out who's got what and where there are similarities and differences. We use plenty of AWS services at Snowpal, so it was a natural place to start was actually looking at AWS and see what their offerings are. So this is going to be a long series of videos essentially, because it's a new world out there, and we're trying to sort of get our feet wet, understand the very basics, foundational elements, and then go build from there and improve our knowledge. But we need to have a foundation to begin with. So, without further ado, let's sort of get started. And the idea behind sharing this is, if we are at this reasonably early stages of trying to, imbibe what's out there in the world of AI and putting that into practice, I know by talking to other people that a lot of companies are in that stage. Now, there are some who've made plenty of progress, but we are still in the early stages of AI as technology, right? In 2025. So it's still 10 years down the road or 2 decades down the road. You're going to look at this as, oh my God, the things were really, really new and in their nascent stages of infancy, if you will. So let me do a screen share. Actually, let me do a desktop. And there's not necessarily going to be a structure to this. I mean, hopefully there is some structure, but don't expect too much of it, because we're just going to learn together. And I've noticed that it's fun to do it that way as well. So let me move this here. I want to make sure I'm showing the desktop. So okay. So let's start here. And I think this is what I had quickly shown in the previous sort of the intro video, if you will. If you go to AWS products and artificial intelligence, you see, there's a long list, right? The catalog, uh, in totality, the AWS catalog is much more huge. But even within the world of AI, as you can see, there's plenty of products, and each of them is going to take a fair bit of time to get some understanding of before we can start building products and services based on these. So Amazon, now again, some of this you may have kind of heard of, some maybe you explored a little bit. I don't know which stage of your AI learning experience, where you are in your AI learning experience, if you will. For me, I'm a beginner. We are beginners at the company when it comes to any and all of these products, simply because we don't have, like I mentioned, we don't have our APIs are not yet leveraging these. There's a number of different ways we expect to be able to use them. And we're super stoked, right? Much like everybody else, because there are things that we could not possibly have done without some of these tools, like 6 months or a year down prior to where we are right now. But now I think it's possible. It takes a lot of digging and research and understanding. So we know what we want to solve, but we're still figuring out how exactly we want to be able to do that. So let me just just call out for the names of these products. So at least then, this is, as we go through these videos, there's some reference or context to it. Amazon Q, I have not used that at all. I have no idea what it is. It says generative AI powered assistant for work. maybe in this first one, maybe we can spend a minute or two. Yeah, there's not that many here, to be honest. Just looking at what it is. Okay, let's do that, right? So I'm going to go to Amazon Q. Um, I- Products, AI. Yep, I hit new tab, but that does not work. Okay. Um, should work. Okay, Bedrock. Let's go. Actually, let's go. Oops, sorry, I opened the wrong one. Let's go to AI, SageMaker, App Studio, Augmented AI, Code Guru, Comprehend Medical, Elastic Inference, Fraud Detector, Entity Resolution, Canva, Lex, Lookout for Metrics, Monotron, Healthomics, Health Imaging, Health Scribe, Health Lake, Personalize, Poly, Recognition, Textract, Translate, Transcribe. Oh my god, there is this list is. Why did I actually think it was not that long? Let me just open it. Okay, that is a lot of them. Okay, let's see how many we can go through here, right? So again, first look at all of this. I want to look at the thing that piqued my interest just immediately was Bedrock. Let's start there, right? The easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications with foundation models. I actually want to take a slightly deeper look at that in this first or maybe the second video. But let's see if we have the opportunity. I want to try to keep them small and incremental, right? So it's not overwhelming, not to you, certainly not to me, and hopefully not to you as well. Okay, so Bedrock is something we want to come back and take a look at if possible in this video. So it's to me it seemed like a natural starting point. But let's look at that in a second. So what is the first one we opened here? Amazon Q generative AI assistant. It says the most capable generative AI powered assistant for accelerating software development and leveraging companies' internal data. Now, the idea is the first thing I want to do here is sort of explore these at the 50,000 foot, just see what it is, right? What are the differences? What does each one do at a high level? Just understand it, like, just very a tiny bit, right? So we are not completely ignorant of what that is. So it says the most capable. So I'm going to be learning with you here, so bear with me. Like every other recording or podcast or course we share, we're not necessarily coming pre-prepared. We're coming here to learn with each other. Um, the most capable generative AI powered assistant for accelerating software development and leveraging companies' data. Amazon Q business and developer. Okay, get started. Conversational experience with generative prompts, sources and references, file upload. What is there? Is there an easy way to open an AWS console? That's a different account actually. Actually, I'm using my phone. Oh my goodness, I actually have to. I thought I was logged in here. I'm not logged in here. Oh, I am actually. Why does it have me? Let's see, let's get out of here. Let's get back here because I'm using my phone to do this recording. So for me to actually get the two-factor auth code, I have to disconnect and do a bunch of things. Actually, let's go to AWS console. I was signed in, but maybe Yep, I am. Okay, cool. Thankfully. So maybe let's make this a separate window here. Okay. Let's make the, and then we'll go to Q. Okay. Is this the first page? Let's go here. I'm just going to click. It says it's required. So I'm just going to say yes. Amazon Q Business Lite Pro and Developer Pro. To be honest, now that I think about this, there's a long list here. You know what? Let's see how it goes. This plan includes access question to question answers features in Q Business, enables users to ask questions and get answers from enterprise data sources. Developer Pro. Empower your workforce with generative AI. Extract insights, ideas, content. Now that I think about it, you know what? I think it's going to be perhaps difficult to understand it without trying it out. So let's maybe even go even further, one step higher. I was just trying to just get a feel for, okay, what is it solving, right? What kind of problems does this particular product solve? So when we have those problems or something in that spectrum, we could come here looking for it. But maybe it's not going to be as straightforward as that, as I had hoped actually. So let me, that's just a few too many windows. Amazon Q products. Business and developer, there's two kinds of products. Makes generative AI securely accessible to everyone. Leveraging your own company's content, okay, data and systems. Amazon Q makes it easier to get you fast answers to pressing questions. Ah, Amazon Q developer is the most capable generative AI powered assistant of building, operating, and transforming software, managing data. It goes beyond coding to help developers with all of the tasks from coding. So there's two different products. Need to check this out. This one seems to be like it says it makes it easier to get you fast answers to questions, leveraging your own data. So, as a company, you're going to have different content. Again, I'm speculating a lot of this here, right? Just early learning. A lot of content management systems, and your content is stored in many different places, many different systems, and you need to be able to access the content in a federated manner. So, I've used something called Glean. Let's see. Glean, was it glean.com? Yeah, this is the one I've used this product, Work AI for all, the Work AI platform connected to all of your data. So let's the simplest way to tell is Amazon Q versus Glean. Yeah, see, Glean versus Amazon Q versus Bedrock. Okay, so that's this is kind of how we at Snowball discovered these products really quickly, trying to sort of draw a parallel to something else that we may have used in the past, trying to pick up some terms and then go from there. Because from 5 minutes ago, where I had absolutely no idea what Q could possibly do, now I at least know that based on my speculation, which probably turns out to be not so incorrect. Maybe we can use Amazon Q to sort of index our internal content and interact with that content in an AI chat based manner is what I presume. This says Glean versus Amazon Q versus Bedrock. We're going to get to Bedrock a little bit later. So look, they might be in that space, right? So probably like for instance, at Snowpal, we have our content on GitHub, not just the repos, but our projects. We have content on our own Snowpal systems, deadlines, due dates, deliverables, a roadmap. We have disparate uh, systems that manage our content in entirety. How do we get to looking at those by sort of doing search in a federated manner across your content? So that's probably what Amazon Q appears to bring to the table, right? I think that's a fair place. That's a fair assumption to make given what we're seeing at this point. The developer looks like it might be just one step further where it deals with perhaps, should I say it's going to be doing something similar, but across, but in your code base, because it says it's the most capable assistant for building, operating, and transforming software. It goes beyond coding to help developers with all the tasks from coding, testing, and troubleshooting, yada, yada, yada. So, definitely something interesting to check out. Oops, let's see. And we go to pricing. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't worry about pricing. You know, Amazon it's a massive world. Right? It's like what, one third of all cloud operations probably are happening on Amazon from a market share standpoint. So even if you're just taking a segment, a category of their products like AI, let alone probably the most complex from a newness and understandability standpoint. Uh, Understandability. I don't know if there's such a word. Maybe there is. Uh, so I think. Uh, I think it's still it's a big catalog, right? It's a number of products. So the idea here is to just sort of skim the surface. So then after this, after we've gone through this, if somebody says these product names, at least you feel like you've heard this somewhere at some point. Okay, so we'll not worry about pricing. So right, so Amazon Q, I feel like you know what, we've actually kind of seen it to some extent, so we know what it can help us with. Amazon Bedrock, this is a fully managed service. I looked at it a tiny bit that offers a choice of high performing foundation models from leading AI companies. So you probably have heard of some of these. Anthropic, which I think is probably different company that Amazon has a heavy investment in. Cohere, Luma, Meta. Meta has a number of models, like open source models. So there's a number of these models that are accessible via Bedrock. So I sort of went into the first page to look at the model catalog, and we can look at this perhaps in a subsequent video because it just digs one step deeper. But I want to say, at least from what I've seen, it's got a model catalog within Bedrock, and you can pick and choose the model that makes the most sense to you for the problems you're trying to solve. So in one of the videos, what we can possibly do, look at each of these models, much like we're looking at the products at the 50,000 foot level. We can look at each of those Amazon, the AI models supported by Amazon on Bedrock. So we sort of get a sense for, hey, what are the Amazon models versus the Anthropic models? Here you see a count of these models, and I reckon they are all they're good in some things and not so good in others, and there's competing offerings. How to lay this out? Maybe we can draw something here just to understand this big picture, because there are so many models offered by so many companies. Which ones make the most sense to you? Do you sort of want to be logged into certain providers? Like, should I just go with the Amazon models because there is a sense of familiarity because they're provided by the same vendor? Or does that not make a difference? Should I just pick the best model for the problem? Ideally, that should be the case, but hopefully you know what I mean. So Bedrock is basically that. It's the place where I want to start, right? We want to start a fully managed service that offers all of these models, and then we can check out each of these models and see how it can help us and what kind of problems it can potentially help us solve. Let's go to the next one, SageMaker. I've heard this one. They probably used to call it SageMaker, and then they rebranded this to SageMaker. Yeah, it's been renamed the SageMaker. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, to just change the product name. So build, train, and deploy machine learning models, including what are FMs, foundation models, right? So we talked about the different foundation models that Bedrock would support. This one says build, train, and deploy these models for any use case with fully managed infrastructure. Uh, so SageMaker, that managed service that brings together a broad set of tools, enable high performance, low cost machine learning for any use case. With this, you can build, train, and deploy models at scale using tools like notebooks. So with Bedrock, we see a set of existing models appear, so you can leverage those models. Maybe SageMaker is the tool you want to use to build and deploy models if you end up creating these machine learning models, right? So now, if you go to, like, when on Bedrock, we saw a number of these models where you could filter by the companies. Maybe if you created a model, like choice of ML tools, fully managed infrastructure, um, all of this is going to take a bit of cost, dollar value, even to learn, but it's money and hopefully well spent. Build foundation models from scratch. Yep, I think this one looks like SageMaker is what you can use to build these models, but that's probably more complex than leveraging an existing model. So let's see what their features are. There's a big list here. Hyperpod, scale and generate, accelerate model development across thousands of AI accelerators. And then you have up here, Studio. Wow. So within SageMaker, you have a number of these products, right? So to build these models, perhaps you need to leverage a lot of these products potentially. So again, now I get the sense of how big this world really is. We first have the AWS catalog with every product that AWS supports. That's an infinite, almost seemingly an infinite number. And then within that, you have AI. You have a number of products. We opened up these tabs and they look so tiny already. And then if you go into that, each one is a world of its own. And within SageMaker, we can see that there's a number of other products that it seems to have: Hyperpod Studio, Jumpstart, Canvas, and whatnot. But at least looks like something we can look at to build foundation models, right? That's what it looks like to me. So I think that's enough at this point, and then we can go to the next one. So this was AWS. Let me make sure I'm going to that list correctly. It was App Studio. The fastest and easiest way to build enterprise grade applications. What is App Studio? It's a powered service that uses natural language to build business applications, empowering a new set of builders to create apps in minutes. With App Studio, technical professionals such as IT project managers, data engineers, blah, 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 can quickly develop apps tailored to their needs without requiring deep software development skills. Okay, so that's interesting. That's the most thing. That's probably the most important paragraph. It says without requiring software development skills, and it says IT project managers. So it doesn't call it for developers and architects, um, which tells me that um, accelerate with a generative power assistant. Simply describe the app you want to build using natural language. Will create an app for you. This looks like the no code is AWS. Okay, let's just do the AWS App Studio no code or versus Bubble, which is one of the things I recently looked at, right? Oh yeah, while AWS App Studio are no-code platforms, AWS is primarily focused on enterprise-level development and deep integration of the ecosystem. So again, remember just doing a comparison by taking cues from one or a couple of the words sort of tells us. So without, again, 2 minutes ago, I had absolutely no idea what AWS App Studio was. But now, just by doing this comparison, Bubble is something I had looked at recently with somebody who had come onto one of our podcasts. Uh, and it was a pretty interesting conversation around no code development using Bubble, which is something I have not used. So App Studio is a no code platform, so something that's quite exciting as well. We can certainly take a look at it, and needless to mention, it obviously would have deep integration to the ecosystem into AWS. So again, this makes it harder for other platforms to compete, right? So it'll be kind of cool since we've already done a session on or two actually on Bubble. We can look at AWS App Studio and see what it means for no code development. I think that's we look at this, but that gives us an idea so we can sort of keep moving along. Next is Amazon Augmented AI. What is this? Implement human review of machine learning predictions. Implement human reviews based on your requirements. Uh, Augmented AI, A2I, allows you to conduct a human review of machine learning systems to guarantee precision. So you input data, AWS AI services, a model makes a prediction, and then it feeds into the augmented AI. High confidence predictions are returned immediately to the client applications. Low confidence predictions are sent for human review. Reviews are consolidated and review data can be added to a training dataset to improve your models. So this is saying the end result is outcome is you have data that can feed into the training data set to improve a machine learning model. And we had seen that to create these models, we could use SageMaker. So this essentially says you have data, you you feed that to an AI service or a model that makes a prediction, and then you run it through augmented AI to see if there's high confidence or low confidence in those predictions. With high confidence, it feeds right into your machine learning models. With low confidence, it's reviewed using weighted scores stored on S3, and then it feeds into the client application. Um, Trying to understand and digest this, learn how to incorporate human review into your apps. So it sounds like augmented AI is human review of machine learning predictions. So allows you to conduct a human review of ML systems to guarantee precision. So if you want to improve the quality of the data that is fed into your models, perhaps there are cases where you need to have a human review of those models of their data, of those predictions. So it's close to being accurate. And when there is a high confidence prediction, basically maybe augmented AI tells us its confidence levels on those predictions. And if it's high confidence, you can feed it right into your data set to help improve your models. But if it's not, then you have human intervention and you review it and you do whatever needs done before it becomes, before it feeds into the data set. So if we were to draw this diagram, which we will do at some point, to try and connect all of these different products, looks like SageMaker is what you would use to create the model. Augmented AI is what you would use to improve the predictions on existing data before it's fed into the training data set to improve the models, right? So it probably comes before SageMaker in that sense. I think that's the closest I can summarize this in the 3 minutes or 5 minutes I'm reading this, right? Hopefully it's not entirely wrong. Okay, so the next is, there is a long list here. How long are we into this? Oh, we're almost half hour in. Okay. Maybe it was wishful thinking to be able to go through all of this in like one sitting. Maybe we'll have to break even that down, which makes sense. There is a lot. I don't want to rush through it. I actually want to talk Bedrock in this video, but we sort of digressed even before we got started. But this just seems like a bit more of a natural starting point than jumping into one of those products. At least that's what I think. Amazon Code Guru Security. Detect, track, and fix code security vulnerabilities anywhere in the code dev cycle using machine learning and automated reasoning. Yep. So in other words, to find out your vulnerabilities in your code, you probably are using other products potentially, and some of that are integrated into GitHub as well. Let's just search for GitHub tool to identify. Um, yep, you probably have heard of Sonar Cube. Um, the GitHub tool used to identify is called CodeQL. So that's what I was actually looking for. Let's look for CodeQL. Yep. So this is discovering vulnerabilities across a code base. So just took one example of something in this plugins for VS Code and stuff like that. So this is again, this is using machine learning. It is it's going to be identifying vulnerabilities. It's too many syllables there, I guess. So there's nothing to dig deeper. It says what it is. We just had to figure out how to leverage it, how to use it, how it integrates into your development cycles and dev process and whatnot, right? So let's move on. Amazon comprehend, derive, and understand valuable insights from text within documents. Okay, so you have documents and you want to derive insights from those documents. Comprehend is something. So these some of these clearly are much bigger products and others are close enough, like sort of applications, if you will, where you just leverage them straight away. Like Bedrock is a platform, SageMaker is a platform, but this one, Comprehend, is a little bit different. It doesn't come across to me as a platform as opposed to sort of a service or a product that you're using to doing one thing specifically. So it talks about why it uses discover insights from text. So we can test these out. It says features is custom entity recognition, classification, uh, toxicity detection, language detection, syntax analysis. So it's got a bunch of these features, right? So if you're doing text, you want to derive insights from text, then I guess comprehend is a solution. Let's just see verses so we know what else is out there. Yeah, I thought I'd seen TextRact, and I think we have TextRact as well in one of these windows here. Let's actually see products, AI, comprehend, TextRact. This must be somewhere here. Transcribe, translate, TextRact. Yep. Automatically extract printed text, handwriting, layout elements, and data from any documents. So within their products, clearly they're similar, which is not surprising. It's always the case with Amazon or any other these large companies that provide a lot of these competing products offerings within themselves. Both AWS services analyze text. TextRact extracts text from documents, while Comprehend analyzes the extracted text. But I thought Comprehend would also understand, derive, and understand insights from text. So this seems to say that TextRact will extract the text while Comprehend analyzes the extracted text. But does it mean you have to use them in combination? Like before you analyze the text, you need to extract it. So perhaps they work together. And we can go deeper into. Oh, this diagram looks interesting. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of exploration, as you can tell, right? So there is going to be similar products, but it looks like Amazon Comprehend and Amazon Comprehend and Amazon TextRact are sort of similar or related. So what we will do is we'll close this one as well, and we'll call it sort of done as at this level of exploring, right? I want to do maybe one more before we call it. Oh, there's a SageMaker inference. Does this come under? So we went to AI, SageMaker AI. Trying to think where. Amazon Comprehend Medical, SageMaker. Did I open this by SageMaker AI? And that's SageMaker. I'm just trying to see in this list here, where did we comprehend elastic entity resolution leg? I'm trying to look for. Yeah, there is no SageMaker. Maybe it's within that. So maybe I opened this by mistake. There's a lot to explore here. Yeah, maybe that doesn't look like a product at the highest level. So I'm just going to close this one here. Amazon fraud detector, detect online fraud faster with machine learning. Okay, so it's very clear as to who are some of the competitors. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't care because it basically it tells us what it is. Detecting online fraud faster with machine learning. So if you are like perhaps a bank or one of those financial entities, perhaps this might be more relevant at Snowpal for what we do. At least at this point, this may not is probably not of interest to us. So I'm probably we can explore it, but maybe we won't spend much time, if any, right? So, but it tells us what it is. So I think it's self-descriptive. AWS entity resolution, easy to configure machine learning powered entity resolution service. What is it? Helps you more easily match, link, and enhance related customer product records stored across multiple applications, channels, and data stores. Can use rules, machine learning, or data service provider matching techniques to optimize your records based on your needs. It says enhance related customer product or healthcare records stored across apps and channels. So I want to see Snowflake. Will the Snowflake offer? While both AWS Entity Resolution and Snowflake deal with data management, the key difference is that AWS Entity is specifically designed for entity resolution, identifying and linking duplicate records across different data sets, while Snowflake is a broader cloud data warehouse platform that can be used for various data analysis tasks. Um, Trying to see if you haven't checked out Snowflake, then you can just go to Snowflake and check out the product. It's a data cloud, and if you want to integrate multiple databases and different data systems, you can use Snowflake. Just trying to see if there's any similarity here. It says linking records across different data sets. So that's kind of what it seemed to indicate here as well. Set up entity resolution workflows in minutes, protect your data and minimize its movement by reading records where they live. In other words, if you have disparate systems of data, you want to be able to read data from all of those systems. Like we saw one of those other products where you could search across those, but this is less search, more being able to deal with data that's living in disparate systems in a sort of a federated manner, if that's the right word. So you have data in multiple entities, and you want to actually interact with it, which is kind of how I've used Snowflake. Trying to think if this is similar to Snowflake in some way, form, or shape. Enhance your data with datasets and IDs from trusted providers in a few clicks. Increase your data reach and scale. Translate your records with live RAM, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let's go to FAQ. So new service that helps you match, link, and enhance your records related across application. Get started in minutes using easy to configure workflows. Yeah, it looks to me who would benefit from it. Advertising, healthcare, supply chain, financial records stored across multiple apps. Yeah, that's what. So you have your data in multiple systems, um, and maybe there's, if you have the same data in multiple systems and you have to make sense collectively, that's what it sounds like to me, right? So you have data in multiple systems and data stores, and you want to interact with the data as though it's a singular source of data, very much like what Snowflake does bring to the table. Does it work with structured and unstructured? It says only with structured data. So, which means it cannot be, documents and data living in, you know, uh, data stores that, NoSQL, even NoSQL data stores that's unstructured data. So this is probably just structured data. So we have to understand what type of data. Is it just database records? That seems limiting. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's something beyond that. But the data, nevertheless, has to be structured. Is what it says. It only works with structured data. So that's, I think we have like what, four, eight, about 20 some more to go. We've probably gone through like 5 to 7, maybe a little bit more. Um, and maybe this is, yeah, we are like half our in. So what I think we can do, sort of call it wraps here. So just to do a quick recap, right? The idea here is to sort of understand what these products are at the highest level. So we've at least heard of them, right? So somebody says Bedrock or SageMaker or newly renamed SageMaker AI or TextRack. We at least sort of know, we've heard, and maybe something jogs our memory, and we're like, like, here's what, where I'd seen it. We can start looking at it and start playing with it more. And we are going to be playing with a number of these. I don't know, with maybe not with all of them. There's just too much, and maybe some of them are not entirely relevant to us at Snowpal at all. Not now, not in the near future. So maybe we'll deprioritize them unless someone wants us to look at it, in which case we're happy to do it. But we'll pick other ones and sort of look at it, like Bedrock particularly. And there's a number of other items that come into that mix, and slowly understand foundation models, what they are, how they can be built, how they can be augmented, improved, leveraged, and fed or picked and chosen from for a Bedrock application. Those are the sorts of things that we are hoping to be able to cover. But I think this is not a bad start. Hope it helps you, and hope this series helps anybody who's got some or a lot of interest in building generative AI and AI applications, certainly on using some of the AWS products. Um, until next time, thank you.